Hi guys, it's Callie. I am currently in Louisville, Kentucky at the National FFA Convention, and which means I will not be there with you guys tomorrow to present my food safety issues briefing guide. However, Leah will, so this is just kind of my way of being there in spirit. But I hope I can make this as easy for you guys as well as myself as possible. So basically, I just kind of want to talk about a little bit of the history of the Food Safety Act, of the USDA, the BAI, the FDA, and the different industries and agencies, organizations that have led to what we're dealing with the Food Safety Modernization Act right now. So I'll get into as far as the Food Safety Modernization Act later, and I'm just going to kind of go through a little timeline to where we are today. So in 1862, the USDA was founded under the Lincoln administration, and that was kind of the beginning of placing any kind of legislation or any kind of stipulation as far as the animal and consumption industry as far as it went. At that time, there was no possible way of placing policies to quarantine animals if they were diseased, exportation, anything like that, until basically the founding of the USDA. And at that point in time, he then appointed Harvey D. Wiley as the chief chemist, who kind of worked on as far as the experimentation of that and the science behind all of it. And he was Harvey D. Wiley. He was also known for his support of the Pure Food and Drugs Act, which we'll talk about a lot more later, which plays a huge role in the industry. And that was also known as the Wiley Act because he was such a big supporter of that. Like I said, we'll get into that more later. So once Harvey D. Wiley, started campaigning for the Pure Food and Drugs Act, it raised more awareness as far as, hey, we have a problem here. We have people consuming diseased animals. We're importing and exporting diseased animals, and we're not quarantining these animals. So that really, at that point in time, it's in mid to late 1800s. People are transporting themselves and animals through railroads. That was really their only form of transportation, because these animals are being transported all across the United States and into the surrounding territories. And which, of course, it's spreading these diseases. It's spreading them globally, but these people are also consuming pork, poultry, beef, anything that, has possibly become from either, an animal that was exposed to a disease, carries the disease, basically that is not fit for consumption. So, basically after that, in 1886, the federal government regulated all interstate, commerce, basically, as far as quarantine and consumption of these animals, which basically that's another big point in our timeline, because then after that kind of raised awareness, people were like, hey, something isn't right here. In 1881, an act was passed, and which became a law, that all live cattle, swine, any kind of meat producing animal, that it must be certified and inspected properly before being imported or exported. Because then not only are we not worrying about someone consuming these animals, also it's not traveling across the border spreading these diseases worldwide. So we talked about earlier about Harvey D. Wiley and the Wiley Act, also known as the Pure Food and Drugs Act, which also led to the formation of the FDA. Now, the FDA did not officially become the FDA until 1930, but in 1906, the FDA had its first, big project, which was the Wiley Act, or the Pure Food and Drugs Act, which led to the formation of the FDA in 1930. Um, so basically, the FDA became took over. They're a break off of the USDA, and they took over all inspection of animals. Different foods that are fit for consumption and then um, in January of 2011, the Food Safety Modernization Act was passed and signed under the Obama administration. And this is the biggest reform of food safety in 70 years. There's been nothing like this in 70 years. So a lot of organizations such as Florida Farm Bureau are getting behind the Food Safety Act because they feel like it supports that as it's the job of the consumer, and both the farmer and the farmer, the consumer, it's everyone's job to not only think about where this pesticide, all food should be grown organically. Well, it also boils down to how the food is prepared in the home, in the restaurant. It doesn't all fall on the farmer. It should also, and as far as like things that exports, things that we export and import, it should be something that's brought into our country should be as thoroughly as examined as anything that we produce within the country, if not more. And Florida Farm Bureau is really an advocate for promoting, I guess you could say, healthy habits as far as preparing food within your home, taking the precautions as far as preparing, to cook the meal, cooking the meal, and even as far as serving the meal. These are all small things that fall into the food safety category. And Florida Farm Bureau has several different advisory councils, that one of which is food safety. And Jamie Gerald, she is the Assistant Director of Ag Policy at Florida Farm Bureau. I actually interviewed her a few weeks ago for a different project, and luckily I was able to use some of that information today. That's one of her whole council is as far as being advocates for the farmer through this process, because basically, as AgCom students at Farm Bureau, we are the voice of the farmer. It is our job to, as consumers and as producers, to not expect someone to make our food safe for us. Yes, we should feel that everything, as well, the Pure Food Act, it should be pure when it comes to us, but also, we shouldn't, it's not our fault, or it should be our fault if we serve raw meat to someone in our restaurant or to our child. Everything is not falling on the farmer. So basically, that I feel like this is a really great opportunity for us to be advocates for the agriculture aspect, for the USDA, and really get behind Farm Bureau in supporting the Food Safety and Modernization Act, because I feel that it has a lot of pros and cons. Because some things, yes, I feel like it is harmful to the farmer, but really what I wanted to focus on today was the things that we can do, we can be advocates for, to let people, to voice our opinions and let people know that, hey, this shouldn't all fall on the farmer. There are things you can do within your home to make your food safe and to produce food for your family in a safer environment. So I'm at this point, I guess I'm really gonna pass it over to Leah and let her kind of talk about the stakeholders. But I just kind of wanted to leave you with the thought of be an advocate. I mean, we're agriculture communication students. Be an advocate. Share with people just little things they can do within their home to produce their food in a safer environment, and to I lost my train of thought again. But it's basically, that's just it. Think about little things that you can do for yourself, for your family, and just for people around you, that you can be an advocate for agriculture and let them know, hey, there's things you can do. It shouldn't always be, the blame should not always be placed on the industry. So, I guess I'm going to leave you with that little thought, and I will see you guys next Tuesday. All right, have a great class, guys.